Guys, in this episode, we bring back the Legend, and we are always about that optimization and efficiency. So we've got two modifications that we are doing to the Legend, and we are trying to increase both of those. Also, I wanted to remind you guys that from now through November 15th, we're giving away a total of 3 MPVI2s from HB Tuners, which is the same software that I use every day. Anything from gear ratio changes to injectors to putting twin turbos on something, that's the software that I use. And they cover a number of platforms. We will be selecting winners randomly from Fasterproms purchases. We also have multiple random giveaways on our Instagram. So check that out. There's a lot of cool stuff in there. All right, guys, let's get back to the video.
Look, you see what we got going on here?
No, I don't. What is that?
It's your purge line, man.
Oh,
Yeah.
is that like a one-shot? Done.
That's just when you need to add a little extra.
Just a little extra.
I don't know how you like that, man.
That's funny as hell, man.
I wasn't going to let all the people see that, you know? Grudge
Oh,
racing.
dang. Hell, it's got to be naturally. All right, so we're going to have to edit that out there. All right, so I'm in here dyno tuning some stuff. You're knocking some junk out, man.
So brand new plugs.
All right, we're going to gap those puppies at 35. We'll see how they go. This thing's been a little bit rough, okay? I will admit the cold start is very rich, and she gets moved in and out at least once a day. Well, twice. So. And last 3 or 4 days, she got a little foul plug.
It's a little broken.
Well, we got the boot outside because Uncle Sam's getting his drive shaft taken care of. Got a couple other odds and ends, but chipping away car by car, day by day, George.
Minute by minute.
Piece by piece. Piece by race car
By
piece.
step.
Dang it. I don't
Inch
want to.
by inch.
Oh, geez, you're.
Oh, I got another one.
I don't have any. I don't have any more. Dang it, I'm out. All right, you win that one.
That's on the factory pump, just checking for fitment. The pulley bolts up the same, which is nice.
All right, so there's our GZ Motorsports vacuum pump there, and as you were saying, you test fitted it, and
Super close on the factory bracket. There's a 2-ear mounting perch on this side.
okay.
That the GZ is a little bit wider, deeper
Okay.
than
Let me-
the factory. Yeah, you can see how we're
Gotcha.
sitting perfect on the front, just a little bit deep on the back.
Gotcha. So you think we'll probably be able to stick that in the mill and knock that guy down?
Yeah, I think if we mill that down 400 thousandths or so.
Well, you could just pull that measurement out of thin air.
Just looking at it.
Okay, all right. I can respect that. This one looks, yeah, I mean, dude.
It's straight on the front on both, and then you got the 2-bolt flange in the back there.
Yeah, so these guys look
Those
like they
line
will
up
fit.
Perfect.
Oh my goodness,
Yeah.
dude.
The
Oh,
clearance I'm concerned about.
okay. What if we can remote do this? That might have to be an option.
Do a 90 out of that. I wanted to put this on there because this even gets kind of high.
Holy smokes, dude. That's now obviously
I mean,
we're
it's
not sitting where we need to go,
It's
but
gonna go down a half inch.
it's gonna be close. It's gonna be really close. So by turning it by hand, you think that it's gonna draw a little bit of power, huh?
Yeah, but it'll make up for it in what it pulls.
Yeah, I believe so. It looks like a nice unit. I mean, they've got some carbon fiber, fins inside of it. It's
As
For
pretty
the blades.
as pretty as this is, I put this on the stock one, so that means if we had to, that'll fit on this one.
oh hell yeah! Now that would drive it more though. So our gearing, we haven't figured our circumference yet, but this is probably what, about a 5-inch roughly. So roughly
7 inches.
ID. Yeah, we're gonna call that. I'd call that 7. I'm guessing that guy was 5. So. Oh, I'm off. Wait. Hold on. So let's see here. 5 3/4. All right. That was a little.
So they might not like us sitting there pump that fast.
Hey, we can call Bill and see what he says. I definitely would like to know. Now, we could also figure the RPMs just on ratio from that. We also need to know, I think I told him the RPMs of what we expect to be running should be near about 66, 6,700 is max. Oh boy, solid roller life, man. 420 cubic inches of freaking freedom.
Now this is their alternative mounting method. So this actually goes into the balancer on the crank, and this will be mounted farther forward on a
Which,
single belt.
that looks like that's not so much of an option now.
Got a lot going on there.
Yeah, no, the rack is definitely in the way. And even, yeah, and then you have that cross member. Now there's, yes, it's doable, not in a cost-effective fashion though. All right, so here's the other thing that I was thinking of too, Les, is that if we can relieve some of this, you know, I know that we might be,
You have vintage parts. You don't want to
I know. But look, we got to get better induction. Got to look at somehow, some way. And this is the thinnest part. So on the later model Corvettes, they lay the radiator back more, and look at the kink in that. That's already been heated up and modified because that's from a later model. Here, turn it sideways real quick so we can see. This is, guys, Look at that. That's my thumb, and plus that's the inside there. That is the bottleneck right there. Now it's kind of like a...
You can actually look here.
Yeah, I mean, it's... Jeez.
Not a whole lot of room to work with.
No, it's not. It's really not. That part right there is built by a guy named Keith Masterfort, who runs Special Cars Only. We're really looking forward to having him come in because he's a master fabricator and he's got a super cool car we want to get on the dyno. It is a vintage race car. It is a super, super rare car. It's called a Devon. We're trying to get him to come in this week. I don't know if it's going to happen, but man, one of the coolest cars I've ever experienced. It's like under 2,000 pounds. And when you're sitting in it, you could put your hand flat on the ground. It's one of the coolest experiences. It was a 408 small block, and at the time when I rode it, I think I was like 18 or 19, it was like right after my dad passed away, it was one of the fastest cars I've ever been in. It was making like 500 horsepower and like 500 pound-feet of torque. So the thing had a cross-ram intake manifold with individual Webers on it, and they were tuning it when I was there. It was really, really a cool experience. You know, they put the little vacuum thing on it, and it's like so cool, so cool. And guys, if you're new to this car and this build, this is something that has a big, rich history. This is something that goes back the first 2 of 3 Vet Viper shootouts, and we got 2nd place in the last one, and only to be beaten by a customer of ours. This right here is a 1987 Corvette. It was my father's. It was the fastest naturally aspirated vet in the world for a few years there. And we've done some small updates. You guys should definitely check and catch up on the series of what we've done with it. We call it the Legend. It's a 1987 Corvette, and it's meant to look like about a 1996 with all the stuff that my father had done. It's got some crazy stuff, like it's got Jessel valve train, which is really, really high end for a small block here. This is spaced up about 1 inch so we can run that valve train. It's got a lot of small, subtle things here. The vacuum pump was obviously something that we were doing here and now, but a lot of the accessories are spaced forward so that you can run the Jessel belt drive, which is down there. These right here are some updated injectors. This is on us. Those are not LS1 injectors. That's what they look like. Those have been reflowed to 42 pounds. We've done the Deechworks pump. We've had the transmission rebuilt. Now it's a reverse manual valve body, and we hope to be able to run the best quarter-mile time that we have ever run with this car. The best it's recorded was a 1072 at 131. In not favorable weather, you know, somewhere in the neighborhood of about 90-degree air, with full humidity in Florida, pretty much junk DA, nothing like what it could run if we took it up north, or in really, really favorable weather. At the time, my dad had some friends that said, hey man, Jim, if you take this thing up north, it'll run 1030s. And that would really, really bury the record. But really, really want to try and see if we can set a personal best with the stuff that we have here. Just tweaking little stuff here and there, keeping the power plant, but optimizing little parts all along the way. So as you've been working on a couple different configurations, I see, and we're close, but not there yet. So guys, we just had that pulley on there, and it is freaking big. Now this still needs to come down, but it's not gonna come down that much. And as far as hood height, that is significantly taller than what we have going on there.
We want to go modifying stuff until we know we have alignment right.
All right, so that's the OE pulley that was on there. That is going to drive that a little bit more. However, we can adjust the amount of vacuum with that. That's basically kind of like a controlled leak, if you will.
He does have RPM limits on the website. We just need to look at those and make sure that we're going to be within them.
So we got 1 bolt on there. We're going to test this alignment. Yeah, we're forward roughly, I don't know if I'd call it an 1/8, but we could check. We could even mill this guy down. So that has an adapter that works with the OEM. We could probably mill that down.
That's our clearance here when this gets rocked back a little bit.
We're gonna have to get that plane, obviously, with that plane. It's not bad.
That I wasn't aware of.
Yeah, maybe we can move that back. That might get us where we need to go. Right, so you came in to save the day. I had no idea what you were doing. I saw you had a bunch of beads on some stuff, and I didn't realize that it was this. I think I see what we got going on here. So everything's kind of spaced back. How much was it? Was it like 4/10 of an inch or?
340 thousandths.
Oh.
So I was over by 60.
Okay, well, my guess was 400 thousandths to half an inch. All right, now the other thing too is, again, we had initially had this on the top side there, and you said, hey, that's...
Shares the same cavity, so we're hoping it does the same thing.
We're hoping it works right. If we don't build any vacuum, then, you know. So yeah, these are effectively doing the same thing. This is limiting the amount of airflow that can go in, and it's basically just a controlled bleed. Now this should suck from the same source and the same cavity. You have a low side and you have a high side, just like a supercharger, and that's kind of like what this is doing, but it's drawing in from the same area, and then that's our outlet. So our outlet is going to go down to our catch can that was there originally aftermarket, but I liked how you built that up. That really does look like OE. So you built that all up, you shaped it so it's just looks good.
Weld this clip. back onto that. Breck will do what we want.
That looks really, really good. So we're going to do the same type of build up there on the bottom.
Yep.
Same thing. Okay. I like it.
Sir.
Dude, I mean, it's like, I wouldn't have known how to do it, but it's just, it just makes sense, man. It just does.
So you want to trim some of the plastic off here, so we just trimmed all of it off.
Whoa.
Is that good?
Surprise.
I don't know.
Are you ready to delete the AC?
We need to fix this though, that's for sure. I'm not ready to delete the AC, even though we don't use it. Josh, we could whip up something there with the freaking, you know.
We just need sheet metal.
We can roll some aluminum. We'll rivet it together. We got it.
What's left? We're gonna change the oil in this thing.
Yeah, you showed it to me, and it was.
Fuel valve.
Yeah.
It gets moved in and out and not ran enough.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, I mean, unfortunately, the duty of this car is it just gets pulled in and pulled out, and that's why we end up fouling the plugs and stuff. And it's such archaic tuning software. I mean, I could have swore I pulled, 40% fuel out of startup, and it's better, but it still fouls the plugs periodically. If we don't let it warm up, it's pretty ugly. So all that fuel has no other place to go except in the oil, and yeah.
Hood, was that dash 10 on here?
Yes, we're going to need to either, if we can do it with a grommet, great, but I don't know. I don't think we're really going to be able to do it and keep it sealed with a grommet though, right?
They want it airtight according to the instructions.
Well, I guess we might have to do that. That's an ugly old cast valve cover. I see what we have before us. Maybe let's make it happen. Let's see what this guy is like. Pretty darn close to that. Yeah, that is some bad news looking down in there. She does not have EGR, so I guess in a way it kind of does, but that's gross. We've off and on smoky issue. Now we haven't had it really for a while.
It comes and goes.
Yeah, so
The
I don't know.
rings getting stuck. We did have an issue with the epoxy in the heads that one time.
Yes.
Years ago.
Yeah. So the heads are ported so aggressively, such that there's a piece of epoxy that separates,
Push rod.
crankcase, crankcase where the push rod is, in the vacuum side of the intake runner. Yeah. Yeah. With the small block Chevy, they have the Siamese intake and they have the Siamese exhaust. So these two guys right here, and then the push rod goes through the side, so it's ported so thinly right there that piece broke off. We had an internal vacuum leak, so it was sucking in a lot of oil, hence the issue. We need to check around the distributor, because otherwise the vacuum pump is not going to do its job totally unless it's, sucking all the vapors out. So we need to also be able to get a gauge on that to determine how much vacuum we're pulling.
And adjust it for.
Correct, yeah.
Old Jody's tape finger. Had a dozen of them, probably.
All right, so that's some of the buildup so that we can machine that down and or adapt. All right, so guys, a little bit earlier we had mentioned about a C6 cold air, and Laz found one.
You have a big hoarder's pile.
Well, this pays off. So really, we just need to get an air filter. So we ran an Attack Blue cold air filter into that. We would still have a good functional ram air. And let's, I guess, close it with a putty. And we don't have our fiberglass cover deal on, but
Yeah, no use in cutting that up if it wouldn't clear. Just with everything out of the way.
oh my gosh, dude, that's gonna be perfect. So that right there is a Donaldson filter factory, and it's like, I don't know, 5 inches deep. That's that actually works out way better. All right, Laz, tell me you got good news.
That's what I found.
Yes. Hey. All right, dude, this is gonna be so good. Hey, it pays to be a hoarder, guys. If you're a car parts hoarder, one day, just maybe one day, it might come back to you in the right time, in the right place. So this guy's gonna fit right in there. It's got a little scrunches, it'll be all right. So when you're using a razor, you make sure you always want to cut towards you, right?
Just had to do knife safety classes for Cub Scouts, and that's what I told them.
Yeah. July 4th, I was cutting something in my backyard with a machete, and I ended up stabbing myself in the love handle. It was a very embarrassing moment. Even though I didn't want to go to the emergency room, we went to multiple walk-in clinics, and they're like, you need to go to the emergency room. We didn't want to be missing fireworks having me get stitched up. Okay, so Laz, we were in auto shop together, and do you remember? Or Mr. Krantz was our auto shop teacher, okay? And I think he was like, Chevrolets and Corvettes are rattle traps or something. Do you ever remember him saying that?
I can imagine.
Okay, well, he was a Ford guy, and that totally just brings back a memory. But I would say that if we did this, it's gonna be a pretty rattly, you know, clapped out sound, and it's gonna be kind of janky.
There's some foam in here to quiet it up.
Well, we're gonna try and do it as best we can.
This has already been modified for the aftermarket radiator. That's like not a factory. Normally,
Not a factory cut, yeah.
Rubber grommets here and here to hold the radiator in place.
Gotcha. There's a lot of hidden stuff in this car that's meant to look factory. And again, like I said, the spacing of everything in the front there, of course, factory looking throttle body externally, but it's Gigantor. Factory rocker covers, except they've got Jesel rockers on them with a 1-inch spacer. A lot of attention to detail. So guys, my son has been absolutely killing it with the TIG welder. So much so that you're making me jealous. My 13-year-old son is pretty much getting to the point where he can weld better than me, and some of his aluminum welds are definitely better than mine. It's pretty amazing. So he's been making these hot rods. He's been selling them at some stuff. If you guys are interested, let me know. So that's pretty awesome, using all sorts of scrap that we have around and just dreaming stuff up and doing it. That is pretty darn sweet. Laz got measurement to Josh, and he just shimmied that thing up in no time. So this thing goes right to our throttle body, actually like so. Drops right in on the C6 cold air intake with our filter that we put in last night. So our ram air is still gonna be functional, and we should be able to have good filtered air. Now the last couple months I've been running around without an air filter because we saw that it picked up a little bit of power. I haven't been driving it much on the street except for just test the tranny up and down this road right here. So I'm trying to really just keep her clean. Now we're gonna be able to do it with a much better, less restrictive intake. Dude, look at that sick weld. So nice, man.
Dang, that dog gonna hunt.
That is so sweet. All right, so she's coming together. Josh is extending our little bracket right there where we're cut pretty darn small and thin. In fact, actually, we broke the bracket while we were cutting it, I believe, but no big deal.
Too close, but
yeah,
we do that sometimes.
It's like everything, metaphorically. Dang, George, you just took that to a whole nother level.
I know.
All right, so I was checking out for any possible oil leaks or anything like that. I think this thing is okay. I had my doubts on it, but I think with the way that it tightens down, I think we're gonna be all right. Saw another little oil leak back there. If there's an oil leak, chances are there's air going through it as well. It's on the sending unit. It's very, very small. Sprayed it, cleaned it out. Did find a vacuum leak, but that's on the intake manifold side. George fixed that right here. We found out where it was going to. What does that so that does go to the cruise, and then it goes to the vacuum canister over there. So yeah, making little bits and pieces of headway here. All right, this isn't the absolute prettiest thing, but it is functional, and once again, we're always on that darn time crunch here. All right, so the way that we have this guy routed right there is incredibly close. Woo! That is it right there. All right, I never knew that those holes were all wallered out. That is a technical term. It's when you take a hole and you waller it. Josh, let me see some of your handiwork there. So this is so that we can check the vacuum on this guy. Ah, so it was a little dirty.
25, 30 years of oil.
Hell yeah, dude. But you're getting her. I believe in you, Josh. What we're planning on doing is we need to be able to monitor how much vacuum is being generated right there, and we can tweak it with this. So
Tighten it up for more pressure.
And we're starting it halfway on the threading.
Start it halfway, and our goal is what, 10 to 12 inches.
Yeah, no, we should be very, very close to max RPM on this thing. All right, let's see if this thing closes here. It's actually not so bad, huh? Yeah, we can close tight. Looks good, man. All right, well, let's get her warmed up here.
Yeah, 1987 Dash is a little bit cheesy, but she's seen better days. It's kind of hard to see exactly how much fuel's in it because it doesn't really say. All right, the reason we got to check this at wide open is because it generates, well, should be positive pressure in the crankcase. So we're trying to go from positive crankcase to negative crankcase pressure. Always so just ridiculously throttle responsive. always love the intake noise on this thing. Listen to that. Give it a little rip. Yeah, you're smoking pretty good. Okay?
Yeah, it builds after your hands on it for a second too.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, it does have a good solid.
I think so.
How brave do you want to go here? It does suck more, yeah. Definitely, yeah. It's not hard yet, but we'll see how much we generate. Guys, that's it for this video. Next video, we're going to weigh the Legend as well as get them on the dyno. We're going to find out how much power this vacuum pump picks up, and I'm really looking forward to seeing what it does. Also, I've always thought that the Legend weighed somewhere about 3,600 pounds and wondered why this thing has gone as quick as it has. Let's find out what that is next episode. Stay tuned. Thanks for watching. God bless you. We'll see you next time.